Congratulations, you've made it to the final interview. You've made it through 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 interviews. So in this video, I'm going to share with you my 3 top tips on how to ace the final interview. If we haven't met, I'm Jeremy Nichols, and I help candidates and recruiters as we navigate through this current hiring market. Okay, so let's get into it. But before I do that, please like this video, hit the subscribe button, and ring that notification bell for weekly updates. Now that that's all been said, let's get into my top 3 tips for the final interview. Like I said in the intro, you've made it to the final interview. This is the last one before you hear the words yes or no. Are you a fit? Are you not a fit? Did you get this position and did you nail it? So this interview is crucial. You've talked to HR, recruiters, maybe directors, managers, people who you'll be working hip to hip with. You've met with them all, and hopefully you've been taking notes and reviewing these interviews when you get home. So my first tip is don't assume. Do not assume that since you have gone through the whole process that you are a shoo-in for this role. Chances are there's another candidate out there, or maybe 2 candidates out there. Typically, as a recruiter, when I present candidates, I present 3 to 4, and when we get to the final stage, there's usually another person in the mix. So you don't want to assume that you've already had this position nailed. Now, a common mistake, and why I say don't assume that you have the role already, is because a lot of candidates get too comfortable at the end, especially if it's a long process. You've had time to develop a relationship with a recruiter. You're probably texting with him or her. You're probably shooting emails to the HR manager or the hiring manager, whoever you're speaking to within the process before you go to the final. The final will typically be a president or someone in C-suite who oversees the whole company, typically. And you don't want to assume going in that you have that relationship built with everybody. While it's great to feel comfortable and be yourself, because that is a tip that I give often, is to just be yourself and be natural, because you are going to be spending most of your time with these people in your life, right? You're going to be spending over 40 hours with this group of people. So you do want to be yourself, but there's also a huge level of professionalism. And you can't forget that. And you can't forget that you have not nailed this role yet. So button up, get ready, go into this interview prepared, and do not assume that you have this nailed. Anybody who follows me on LinkedIn or on YouTube have probably heard me bring up this situation. I've actually been in the shoes of the person who assumed. I know that when I was interviewing for a position about 4 or 5 years ago, I made it through the whole process. Phone interview, face-to-face, toured the office, met my future boss, met my team, looked at my potential schedule. All I had left was a 15-minute interview with the CEO, and I am almost positive that it was my cockiness or my assumption that I already have it nailed that I did not get a call back. In fact, I was ghosted, which also leads me to why I'm very passionate about ghosting. But again, I can't emphasize this enough. Even though you feel comfortable and even though you have that relationship built with the team, do not assume. My second tip is review all your past interviews within this company. Hopefully, you've been taking notes. If you don't feel comfortable taking notes while you're sitting down doing face-to-face interviews, that's fine. As soon as you get back in your car or as soon as you click off that video interview, start jotting down whatever you can remember. But take notes. And at the end of the interview process, right before your final, review those notes. You might feel like you already know everything that's going on. And then when you get into the final interview, that hiring manager or that C-suite professional is going to probably review notes that were given to them by the other interviewers. And they might be referencing that and bringing that up. So you don't want to be caught off guard and stumble and fall. So again, review your notes from the prior interviews and even do a little buffer on the company yet again. Also, side tip, if it's a bigger company that you're interviewing with, just go to Google News, search the company, and see if there's any current events or recent updates on the company that you might want to have just on the side of your hip in case it comes up in the conversation. My third and final tip for nailing the final interview is something that you're probably going to shake your head at right now because it's common sense, but you would be shocked. I've been recruiting for 20 years and I still see this mistake, so don't do it. Have questions. Yes, have questions at the end of the interview, even the final one. You may be thinking, I've already asked everything. I'm good. I got this. I've already interviewed everything. I already have all my questions answered. You might be thinking that, but still, I can't emphasize enough. Have questions. Have a notepad or an iPad with your questions, and I'd say have 10, 15 there. Even something that might not be of huge importance to you, it still shows that you're prepared and you're curious and you're excited about the interview. When you're at the end of the interview and the interviewer asks you, so do you have any questions for me? They always want to hear yes. So just to reiterate, if you have those questions written down, you could go through your checklist, and if you had a lot of them already answered, there's got to be something, one or two left on that sheet that you can ask. And even if you've already had all the questions that are on your iPad or your notebook answered, at least you can give the optics of looking at your pad, going down the list, and looking at the interviewer and saying, wow, I've actually covered all my questions. I had them written down, but you guys did such a great job in the interview and they're all answered. So thank you so much. That will show that at least you were prepared and you brought them. But most of the time, there'll still be a few things on there that you'd like to know. Now, if you follow these tips and you've made it to the final interview, chances are you have a great chance of getting this position. Now, don't expect to hear back immediately. Sometimes it takes 3 to 5 business days for meetings to happen, for them to negotiate what the job offer is going to be, for HR to write up your offer letter. But make sure right after your interview, you start sending out those thank you emails or those thank you letters. Make sure that you are establishing that connection with the hiring authority. If you're working with a recruiter, just loop back with him or her and try to box in a date that you'll get an answer. All right, so those were my top 3 tips. I hope they helped. I went really quick through this one because my last videos were super long, so I wanted to start doing a couple quick ones for you. If you like the content and you have any comments or questions, please put them in the comments section below. I will answer any questions that you have. If you want to send me a personalized email, you can email me at jeremy@geckohospitality.com. You can send me a direct message on LinkedIn. I reply to every email, every DM, and every comment that are in my videos. I guarantee it. So with that said, I hope you have a great week. And if you are going to that final interview, good luck, and I'll see you next time.